Hi. So, for those of you who don't know or don't follow me on Facebook and you just follow me here on YouTube, on Souls. And we're going to talk a lot over time about suicide awareness, um, what causes it, what things we can do to prevent it, what things we can do to help our loved ones, and to make ourselves more educated and more aware of the causes, preventions, and just how people feel when they actually do the deed, you know? I feel like a lot of people claim to be all about suicide awareness and they go and get the cool little tattoos and talk a big game about how they're all for suicide awareness, but no one really thinks about the initial causes. No one truly understands what a person is going through in here when they decide to take their own life. Um, just as a little bit of a backstory for you, my name's Tina. I'm a big advocate for suicide awareness just because I've lost 7 people in my 29 years to suicide. A couple of them were family members, of which I don't have too many, and the rest of them were close friends who were either inner circle people who were self-made family or just friends that I really cared about. I, in fact, lost a really good friend of mine named Kimberly recently, who just, she had been through too much. She had gone through hell a lot like I have, and she couldn't take it anymore. She was just done. She couldn't handle life anymore. She couldn't handle everything that was going on in her life and all of the hatred that she was getting in her attempt to do this very same thing. Um, she actually spent a lot of time advocating for suicide awareness as well on Google and on Facebook and on PlayStation Network, where I actually met her. Let me tell you wouldn't believe the places that you will make some random ass friends. PlayStation Network has definitely been one of those instrumental places for me. I've met a lot of people that I hold very dear on PlayStation Network. Um, Aside from that, over time, in A Voice for the Fallen Souls, we're going to cover a lot of things. I'll probably alternate a little bit between positive and negative just because suicide is not a positive thing. It's not. I mean, there's a lot of positives to talk about in it. There's a lot of, um, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of positivity that needs to be put behind it so that people can really feel that there is hope and understand that no matter how bad your situation is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long you have struggled or how traumatic of a novel your life has been. And let me tell you, on that particular note, I can fucking contribute to the long trauma novel story. Been there, done that. I've been through so much shit. I can honestly say that I can relate to almost every situation. I've been brutally raped 7 times. I've lost 7 people close to me in my 29 years to suicide. I've got pretty much no family to speak of. I'm a single parent. I bust my ass to support my kids as a truck stop manager for graveyard shift. That in itself speaks for you as to how bad my job sucks sometimes. Um, and it's just been a long, hard road for me. But after finally coming to a place in my life where I was able to come to terms with a lot of those things and a lot of study in psychology, let me tell you, you've been through some shit, you don't know how to deal with it, you don't feel comfortable talking to a therapist or counselor, whatever, get you a psychology book. There are several I could recommend. If you're curious, drop me a comment, send me a message on Facebook. I would be happy to talk with you about some psychology books that might help you. Um, you can do it. I mean, I know that life gets hard sometimes, and I am the first person to tell you that my life has not been easy. It still isn't. I mean, there are still days where I struggle with manic depression, i.e., a lesser form of bipolar. It's difficult some days to be positive. It's difficult to grab that silver lining in each day and hold on to it. It's difficult to wake up and tell myself, hey, you know, life may sucks. This sucks. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to look at anybody today. I'd rather just stay home in my cool little bitch cave and hang out by myself. But no matter what, I get up and I force myself to do it. And I go. No matter how bad I hurt, no matter how depressed I am, no matter how hard I'm struggling with my bipolar that day, my manic depression's fucking with me, whatever, I get up and do it. No matter what. And I think that a lot of people lack the drive that it takes to do that. And I mean, I'm not saying that people who take their own lives are pussies, because they're not. A lot of what people don't understand is that people act like taking one's own life is selfish. In fact, I think that is the most generic term that I've ever heard of for suicide myself, personally. Suicide's so selfish. Person who killed herself, they weren't thinking about us. They weren't thinking about anybody else. And on one hand, you're right. They weren't thinking about you. They weren't thinking about the brother, their sister, their mate, the mom, the dad. You're right. On one hand, they weren't thinking about you. But on the other hand, you're wrong, because it's not selfishness initially. At least 90% of the time, it is not selfishness that causes a person to want to take their own life. It's fucking pain. It's pain so intense and so deep and so emotionally integrated within you that's been going on for so long, that you've been dealing with and trying to be strong through, and putting on that fake happy smile for everybody else, playing the fool, letting everyone think everything's okay. Hey, how are you today, Tina? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Putting on that fake customer service face. You know, you can't always do that. Yeah, it's great to laugh it off. It's great to put up that front some days, especially if you have kids. I have two, 10 and 12. I am the master of putting on the fake customer service face. Like I said, graveyard truck stop manager, right here. Single mom of two, right here. I know how to put on that fake face better than anybody. But let me tell you, I tried to fake it for too long once, and here recently, actually, about 8 months ago, I very nearly took my own life, just because things got too hard. I'd been through too much shit. I'd just recently gotten out of a very verbally and emotionally abusive relationship where everything was my fault. The other one did no wrong. It was always something that I did. It was always something that I said. It was always something that I did wrong. I didn't do this right. I didn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. And the thing about manic depressive and bipolar people is that we don't do anything halfway. We're all or nothing type of people. That statement may seem broad, but it's truth for people like us. We don't do anything halfway, whether it be friendship, work, love, relationships, whatever. We don't do anything think several before difficult, but at the same time, it was a good thing. And if it were not for the people around me who cared about me, who loved me, for my own knowledge of psychology and how the brain works, and for just sheer fucking force of will, I would not be here talking to you right now. I would not be here advocating for suicide awareness in the memory of my best girl, Kimberly, who's gone now. And honestly, none of us know what happens when we die. Maybe it's like everyone thinks, and we just go on the ground and our body decomposes, and it's just a big blackness. That's it. It's over. But I like to think that there's something after this. Who knows what? We could go into that and debate all day long. But I like to think that there's something after this, and it comforts me a little to think that she's looking down on me right now, being happy, being proud of me for advocating for this and trying to go strong in her memory. So, this is Voice for the Fallen Souls. Always remember, no matter what, it's hard. Life sucks. And no matter how rich you are, no matter how well you got it, no matter what small amount of stress you may have in your life, how often, whatever, there's gonna always be a hill or two. It's like this guy. I met the most interesting customer at work the night before last. Comes up to my counter with a coffee, a milk, and a pack of donuts. And he was a FedEx driver. He comes up and sets stuff down, and there's that guy and a guy behind him. Little short guy, no taller than me, probably stood about this high. Guy behind him just looked miserable. I mean, his head was hanging, shoulders were slouching. He just looked miserable as hell, like, fuck this day and a half. Guy comes up, puts his stuff down, just happens to glance over his shoulder and see the guy behind him. He says, "Hey, sir, is that all you got?" The guy says, "Well, yeah." He says, "Hey, Tina, put his coffee on my bill, too, will you?" I kind of looked at the guy behind him and looked at him, and he goes, "Yeah, just put his coffee on my bill." So I put his coffee on the bill and rang him up and everything. And the guy behind him that he bought the coffee for just lit up. And I mean, this kid was a sad looking cat from the moment he walked in the door. But that little gesture, that tiny little gesture, maybe he was gonna have to pay for that fucking coffee he had in his hand with change, feeling like shit about himself because it's a week from fucking payday and he just needed some caffeine to stay awake to get to where he was going. I deal with a lot of different situations, dealing with truckers all the time. Let me tell you, I got some stories. But just that little gesture made that whole person's day just light up, and his shoulders stopped slouching, and he went upright. He was happy. He got this big smile on his face. And he goes, "Well, sir, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Thank you." And the guy says, "No problem, man. No worries at all. Just do it for someone else when you can." And that really spoke to me because you never know what little gesture you can perform that will make a huge impact on someone's life. Me and that dude stood there and talked for a little bit about how sad it is that people these days are afraid of people because we as a nation have become so cold-hearted and so introverted and self-centered and head up ass that we don't care about our fellow man. We don't care about each other. Most of us don't even care about ourselves, let alone someone else. And to just be a decent enough person to look behind you and see the guy behind you looking sad and go, "Hey, I'm gonna buy that guy's coffee today. Maybe I'll cheer him up a little bit." It spoke a lot to me because you don't see that a lot. And I bet that dude looking all sad cat from the moment he walked in the door had a way better day after that. Made him feel happy again, you know? And it's hard some days. It really is. Like I said, I struggle with manic depression. I've been there and done that to almost every fucking situation you can think of that's shitty in life. I can relate. But if you feel like you have no one gives a shit, no one to talk to, and no one would miss you, let me tell you, you're wrong. There's someone who will miss you. There's someone who's gonna cry at your funeral. There's someone who's gonna lose their shit worrying about you, not knowing what's going on, because maybe they live 4 or 5 states over. Maybe they live across the world and you're just text buddies or PSN friends or whatever. There's someone who cares, and someone who's going to be deeply hurt at the loss of you if you choose to just end it quickly. Because let me tell you, suicide may not be selfish. It may be, in my opinion, a way to make the pain stop. But there is one thing that it is, and I will never change my opinion about it, no matter what. Not even after losing 7 people. Suicide does one thing. When you're in that much pain, and you feel like that's the only way to make it stop, guess what? You take your own life. You're gone from this world. You may be stopping the pain for you, but in reality, you're not stopping it at all. You're handing it off to someone else, to your pen pal, your PSN buddy, your Facebook friend that you messenger every day, your mom, your dad, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever the case may be. You're just handing off your pain to someone else, because not only do they now feel the pain that you felt when you took your own life, but they feel it twice as much, because they feel the pain that you felt, they feel the loss of you, and they feel the repercussions of everything that's gonna happen after you're dead. Your funeral, all the arrangements, all of the talking, all of the explanations that they have to give when they go to work sad as fuck, or when they're so miserable because they lost you that they just can't make it to work and they have to call in, and they have to sit there and explain to their boss that, look, I'm sorry, I'm not very happy today, I'm sorry, I can't make it so good today, but I just lost my best friend, I just lost my girlfriend, I just lost my brother, etc. You're not stopping the pain. You're just handing it off. And let me tell you, if you are strong enough to feel that pain at all, you're strong enough to get through it. Trust me. I've been there and done this many times. And you're stronger than you think. I promise you. So, with that being said, you ever feel like you got nobody, you're alone, nobody gives a shit? 1, you're wrong. 2, you're not making the pain stop. You're just handing it off. And 3, if all else fails and you need someone to talk to and you can't talk to anyone in your circle, come find me on Facebook. You see this ugly mug? Come find me. Shoot me a message. I may be a little sporadic in answering because, like I said, graveyard manager here, but I'm always here to listen, and I'm always willing to help in any way that I can. So, this is Tina. This has been A Voice for the Fallen Souls, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful in some way, and hopefully you will tune in the future, and all will be good. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.